What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Bat family in Batman Gotham Knights, if that, of course, obviously, is the name. Now, this is a video that took me, honestly, a very long time to think of, and I wanted to do something in regards to what just overall my thoughts on this Bat family. So, I think this can be done very, very good, okay? I think that the potential, as I've said, for this Batman game is very high. Is it as high as some of the other ones? Maybe not. But when we talk about the Bat family, there are a lot of concerns, and I feel like when the game gets announced, when we see the Bat family, when we see how the game is going to actually work, how much are we playing as them, when do we get to play as them, is there some sort of multiplayer, like literal online connection kind of usage in this game, that's when probably the concern videos are going to start coming out of the channel here, right? Because in my opinion, again, you can do this very, very right, and you can do this very, very wrong. So let's talk about basically what I don't want to see in this first. And it is honestly what I've said in the past with Batman, that it's a Batman game. Okay, it's called if it is, okay, if it is. But I think no matter what, the main title of this game is Batman, and then it's, whatever, right, the subtitle. So whether it's an Arkham game, which at this point I think is basically slim to none, or whether it is called Batman Gotham Knights, Batman is the main focus. And I will say this, I really appreciate your guys' comments. I've seen a lot of people agree with me where we're not saying we don't want to play as the Bat family. We're not saying we don't want these mechanics in the game. But it's Batman, okay? If we wanted to buy a Nightwing game, we would be requesting Nightwing the game, right? When it's a Batman game, I do expect to spend the majority of the time. Now, again, majority means, I guess, 51%, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean I expect to spend 100% as Batman, but I'm playing this game in a lot of the ways, like I said in past videos, like I want to get back on the saddle. I want to go back into Batman's life to be able to play as this iconic character, and again, it's their chance to do something completely different with him, maybe a new voice actor, maybe not, but maybe obviously how he looks will be changed. Obviously, new looks and new kind of tone and personality from everybody, the villains, the heroes, everybody, but I want to play as Batman. So I think when we talk about what I don't want, okay, what I don't want in this game, the first thing is to make it really heavily focused, like I've said in the past, really heavily focused on the Bat family. I don't want it. I think missions would be fine, and then when I think about that really is where like the extra layer of just uncertainty comes in, because okay, I think a lot of people probably have talked about, I've definitely seen in comments for almost like a year now, right? I've seen people say like, okay, do you do a GTA kind of thing, like a GTA 5 where you're jumping between these characters? I don't know if you would. I honestly don't know if you would. A thing in this game has nothing to do with GTA, but it is another example of a game with multiple characters, but focusing mainly on one. And this is going to be really weird for a lot of you guys, is Sly Cooper, okay? I don't know how many people know about Sly. I don't, especially, we have people that are overseas. I don't know how popular Sly is overseas, but Sly is obviously a PlayStation exclusive, okay, franchise. And it's a game where it is technically an open world. I would call it an open world, actually several worlds. And you have a home base, and you pick who you're going to play as, and you go outside and you can do collectibles, you can just beat up enemies, you can do whatever you want, and then there's missions. Okay, now obviously these are old games, but the missions had the symbol of the character you were going to have to play as. So if you were going to play as Sly, there'd be Sly missions, and Sly always had the majority of missions. Bentley, Murray, obviously like the Hippo and Turtle, right, they would have missions as well. And another thing sometimes they would do is you would actually have two of them in the same mission. Now, am I saying I think this Batman game should have icons around the world that only Batman can do this? No. Honestly, that is another thing, again, adding to the layer of like complexity that you have to kind of tackle. Riddler stuff, is there going to be Riddler stuff? And if there is, are there going to be things that only Batman can do? Are there going to be things only Nightwing can do? Only Robin? I wonder, and this is a question, for me to kind of speculate, maybe just walk myself into throughout this video, but it's also a question for you guys. If we have this game and we're allowed to play as this Bat family, how do you introduce them? How do you center them? You know what I mean? Where are they kind of located? Can you pick them at any point? Because, ultimately, these characters are probably going to play, and I guess I would imagine they would play, very, very different. Now, the fighting style is the same, and it's what I never truly, 100% love about video games, in that when you make a game, and actually this is kind of an example even for, The Last of Us, and I guess maybe even not to spoil it, but in a game where you primarily only play as one person, but then say there's like a twist to it, the game is built, like its engine and everything that went into that game really is meant for that character, and then you swap somebody else in, and you're really kind of playing as just a skin. You know what I mean? A skin of that character. They don't really have their own personality in terms of gameplay. Now, what I will say, a game even like The Last of Us Part 2 really did actually do it well, where you really felt like you were two different people when you were Batman, and even, you know, obviously as they started experimenting as the games went on, when you were able to have these dual kind of fights, they did make the characters feel different. You didn't feel like you were literally playing as, or like when you're playing as Nightwing, let's say, I didn't feel like I was playing as literally a duplicate of Batman just with a Nightwing skin on. You know what I mean? But the question is, I've seen a lot of people even say in the comments that they want to be able to free roam, you want to be able to traverse like the world. How do you do that? Is there the systems in place where you can do that literally with like 4 or 5 different people? Is that in this game? Because if it's not, honestly, I feel like you're kind of wasting your time. If it is, again, my question is, how do you do missions? Are there missions that are exclusively for Batman? Is it only during like free roaming time that you're able to switch between these? How are you able to actually switch between these? There's a lot of questions. Honestly, there's a lot of questions. It's ultimately why, in my opinion, and I know I probably have a minority kind of opinion on this, as I've said, I really do prefer just a single-player game, right? You just play, and I'm not even saying like you play as one person, but when we talk about a multiplayer element and a single-player element, I would prefer, especially when we talk about like a Justice League game, right? If we're going to play a game where we can all play as a Justice League member, that's amazing. I just don't know if that would fit into a single-player game. Like, I don't think we can have 2 of those in the same game. I ultimately, even with a Suicide Squad game, I don't know if we end up getting to it. The other aspect of it, honestly, is that multiplayer element. So the thing is it going to literally be like Sly? Is it going to be like GTA? Or is it going to be, or can we have like lobbies where people can jump in to the bodies of these characters and go around the world with you? Now, what I will say is this. I really don't think it's that. I think when we talk about cooperative elements of this game, I see it more like the Arkham franchise, what we've gotten with the Arkham franchise, where you'll be able to maybe play throughout the world as different members of the Bat family, where there could be some missions where there's 2 of you, where in the cutscenes there's more of you. Another thing would be interesting is, are there set cutscenes, or, you know what I mean, like if I'm with Batgirl, can she be in the cutscenes, but it's unique dialogue to her, and then if I were to swap it out with another character, would it be unique to them? That's going more into like the RPG kind of world, like an open world RPG or JRPG. That's going more into that world, which, again, do people want that? Is that what people are expecting from this game? That is the biggest question. When you start to introduce these people, and like the Bat family, you start to kind of open yourself up to all these questions, all these concerns. And that's what I'm saying. When this game comes out, it's going to be really interesting to see, do they limit how much you're able to play as these other Bat family members? Are there missions that only certain of them can do? Or can they only free roam? Can they maybe only go around the world? Do they have upgrades? That's another thing, right? When you play as one character and then you switch to another, actually The Last of Us did this as well, you basically start from nothing. The character doesn't have the skill points, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the upgrade, whatever system there is in a game, right? Whatever that happens to be, they don't have it. They don't have it. So I think that would be, I think for something like this, you would also want that, right? When you're going around the world, you would probably expect these different Bat family members to fight differently, or at least move around differently, have different combos, have different takedowns, have different weapons they're using. But in terms of traversal and equipment and gadgets just in general, you'd ideally want them to have different things, wouldn't you? So how does equipment, how does kind of ranking them up, how does all of that work? Riddler, our good old friend Riddler, you know, I think I've had 2 different videos, or maybe even 3 in a year, kind of bringing up the discussion. Do we want Riddler in this game? How would it work? And, you know, thinking about it from a Bat family perspective, I can't think of a more annoying thing for Warner Bros. Montreal to do than put Riddler in it, have Riddler trophies and challenges, but only certain Bat family members can complete them. You know what I mean? You have to play as Robin for this part because Robin has some sort of gadget that nobody else has. You know what I mean? Like something like that. I could definitely, if they have the system in the way that I'm kind of describing it, and Riddler's in the game, I would say, mark my words, that's going to happen. Like that situation will happen where certain members just maybe won't be able to do it. It'll be interesting. Again, there's definitely right ways to do it. There's definitely wrong ways. I personally, to kind of rule out one of the things in terms of what I was saying, where maybe you have an online lobby where different people can jump in and play as the Bat Family, I just 1000% don't think that's what this game is. Okay, would that be cool? Yes. I mean, I'm absolutely not saying that wouldn't be cool. That would be extremely cool to have, much in the same way a Justice League game where I get to play as Superman, but you get to play as Batman, and your friend gets to play as Wonder Woman, and just name off the members. I mean, that would be incredible. But can the game handle it, right? When I have always, I've said this with a lot of different games, I talk about even like a game like Predator Hunting Grounds. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that game. There's all these ideas that fans of the game want. Okay, you can maybe do this mode, or can maybe you have more than one Predator in the map. There's a lot of great ideas, but you know what? If the game isn't designed for it, it's just never going to happen. So yes, free roaming as the Bat Family, where I'm, Robin and you're Nightwing and he's Batgirl and, whatever. Does that sound amazing? Yes, but if the game is not meant for that, there's just no way it's in the game. You know what I mean? So then we have to eliminate that. We have to say, okay, well, there's no way that's going to be in the game. Then how are we going to use these people? What, again, are we going to be able to pick them? Is there going to be a button that we're able to kind of quick swap them? Is it going to literally like be GTA where everybody's living their own life? Now that, I will say, is actually really cool. I would like to see them experiment with that, where you are in a city, a big city, and things can be happening. And I always do stress this with open world games. I love open world games that feel like they're lived in, that feel like even if I'm not there or in a certain part of town, that doesn't mean like something isn't happening there, like things are happening. I would love to see a world where you're fighting, say as Batman, you're doing like a side quest, you're going after a side villain, and then you hear on the police report or something that Robin just took down this gang or something. It'd be like, that is actually, and you know where it is, right? Maybe you can see it, or you can see him like chasing them, and then maybe you can swap to him. When you go into that angle where literally the Bat Family is alive and they're doing things and they're actually living, that is incredible. Now again, that sounds great. I just made it even more exciting for myself. Like, now I want that. Now I'm actually going to be disappointed if that's not in the game. I feel like maybe that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I don't know if maybe that would be asking too much, because that sounds insanely cool, but I don't know if Warner Bros. Montreal is the studio that can really put this all together. So there's definitely, obviously, I think there's things that they can do right. There's things that can make this Bat Family actually insanely cool. There's also things I just flat out don't want, / I don't know how they would work. Again, how would upgrades work? How would equipment work? How would, can people actually, if you guys are expecting, again, like online co-op, now again, will they have multiplayer like Arkham Origins had? Maybe, and that's completely, by the way, that would be completely separate. There's a lot they can do with this Bat Family that can either really work and also really, really fail. And obviously, if the game's called Gotham Knights, if the sole focus, really, or the main focus on this game is you're not just playing as Batman, you're playing as the rest of them, but the mechanics kind of fall apart, or they feel like clones of each other, or, it kind of just waters down the gameplay, or something that just doesn't feel right about it. Overall, I think it can actually hurt this game. So definitely want to hear from you guys in the comments below, guys. What do you think? How do you think they can do the Bat Family right? What kind of mechanics do you want them to include? What do you think they can't do? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up, and follow me on Twitter if you guys haven't already. Podcast Now 15 is the Twitter handle. The link for it will also be in the description below if you guys haven't already checked it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. New videos tomorrow on Rocksteady, on Suicide Squad's game. We'll have more Batman videos over the coming days as well. Thank you guys for watching, and see you on those videos.